Hello everyone, and welcome back to Revisiting Archive, a channel where we explore the fascinating history of the world. In this video, we'll talk about Spain and its role in World War II. World War II was a war that broke out in 1939 between two alliances. The Allies, composed of Britain, France, the United States, Soviet Union, and others, and the Axis, composed of Germany, Italy, Japan, and others. The war was triggered by the Germanic invasion of Poland in September 1939. The war soon spread to other regions of the world, such as Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Spain declared its neutrality in World War II on September 5, 1939. By a decree of General Franco, Spain had several reasons to stay out of the war. Spain had just emerged from a devastating civil war that lasted from 1936 to 1939. The Civil War was a war between two sides: the Republicans, who defended the democratic Second Spanish Republic and its reforms, and the Nationalists, who fought for a new authoritarian regime under Franco's leadership. The Civil War killed about 500,000 people, and wounded, imprisoned, exiled, or disappeared many more. The Civil War also caused famine, disease, and trauma among the survivors. Spain was divided by different ideologies, such as fascism, nationalism, Catholicism, and anti-communism. These ideologies aligned with the Axis powers who had supported Franco during the Civil War. However, these ideologies also clashed with some aspects of the Nazi ideology, such as racism, anti-Semitism, and paganism. Franco also had some personal differences with Hitler and Mussolini, such as his pride, his independence, and his ambition. Spain had a complex and diverse social structure, composed of different regions, languages, cultures, and identities. Some of these groups had their own aspirations or grievances that were not satisfied by Franco's regime. Some of these groups also sympathized with or opposed different belligerents in the war. For example, the Basques and the Catalans favored the Allies because they hoped for more autonomy or independence from Spain. The Carlists and the Phalangists favored the Axis because they hoped for more influence or expansion in Spain. Spain had a poor and dependent economy that relied on imports from abroad. Spain also faced a huge debt, a trade imbalance, and a scarcity of resources. Spain also lacked industrialization, modernization, and development. Spain also depended on some countries that were at war or under blockade for its supplies. For example, Spain imported oil from the United States, wheat from Canada, iron from Sweden, and tungsten from Portugal. Spain had a fragile and isolated political system that was challenged by internal and external pressures. Spain also faced some threats or opportunities that could affect its neutrality or security. For example, the Gibraltar question. Gibraltar was a British territory located at the southern tip of Spain that controlled the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. Spain had claimed Gibraltar since 1704, when it was captured by Britain during the War of Spanish Succession. Spain wanted to recover Gibraltar either by negotiation or by force. However, Britain refused to cede Gibraltar and defended it with its naval power. Franco considered Gibraltar as a strategic asset that could help him build his colonial empire in Africa or join the Axis powers in exchange for help. The French question. France was a neighboring country that shared a long border with Spain. France was also a former ally of Spain that had supported the Republic during the Civil War. France was invaded by Germany in June 1940 and divided into two zones: an occupied zone under Nazi control and a free zone under Vichy control. Franco considered France as a potential enemy or ally that could affect his interests or plans. Franco wanted to take advantage of France's weakness to obtain some territories such as the French Morocco, the French Algeria, or the French Cameroon. However, Franco also feared that France could become a battleground for the Allies and the Axis, or a base for the resistance movements. The Portuguese question. Portugal was a neighboring country that shared a long border with Spain. Portugal was also a historical ally of Spain that had signed the Treaty of Friendship and Non-Aggression in 1939. Portugal was neutral in World War II, but it had some ties with Britain and the United States. Franco considered Portugal as a partner or a rival that could affect his interests or plans. Franco wanted to maintain good relations with Portugal to secure his supplies of tungsten, a strategic metal used for weapons and ammunition. However, Franco also wanted to pressure Portugal to join the Axis powers or to cede some territories such as the Portuguese Guinea or the Cape Verde Islands. Despite its neutrality, Spain was not unaffected by World War II. The war had some positive and negative impacts on Spain. The positive impacts were such as the economic recovery. The war created some opportunities for Spain to improve its economy. Spain exploited its neutrality to trade with both sides of the war, especially with Germany and Italy. Spain also received some payments and concessions from Germany and Italy in exchange for its cooperation or assistance. Spain also benefited from the American aid program known as Lend-Lease, which provided Spain with food, oil, and machinery. There was also a big diplomatic influence. The war enhanced Spain's diplomatic role and reputation as a neutral country that could mediate between the warring parties. Spain also participated in some international organizations and initiatives, such as the United Nations, the Red Cross, and the Vatican. Spain also hosted some important diplomatic meetings and conferences during the war years. However, the negative impacts were such as the political isolation. The war isolated Spain from most of the international community, especially after the defeat of the Axis powers in 1945. Spain was seen as a fascist regime that had collaborated with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. Spain was excluded from some international organizations and agreements, such as the Marshall Plan, the NATO, and the European Coal and Steel Community. Spain also faced some sanctions and boycotts from some countries, such as France, Britain, and the United States. There was also social unrest. The war worsened some social problems in Spain, such as poverty, inequality, exploitation, and oppression. The war also caused some social tensions and protests, such as strikes, riots, demonstrations, and revolts. The war also increased the radicalization and violence of some groups, such as communists, socialists, anarchists, and separatists. Well, this concludes our video on Spain's involvement in World War I and World War II. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos on Spanish history. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep revisiting the archive.